Picture this. It's 2 a.m. The wind's howling outside, the power's been out for 12 hours, and the temperature just dropped below freezing. Your furnace is dead. The house is silent, except for that crack of ice forming on the windows. You wrap another blanket around your kids and realize the thermostat on the wall is useless. I'm David, and I've been prepping since 2014. And let me tell you, the hardest lesson I ever learned: comfort disappears fast when the power goes out. Within hours, warmth turns into survival. Here's the brutal truth that most people don't want to hear. Your expensive backup generator won't save you when fuel runs dry. And those winter survival kits from Amazon, 90% of them are junk. The Amish have lived off-grid for generations. No electricity, no central heat, and they're still thriving through brutal winters. Look at what happened in Texas back in February 2021. Millions without power, pipes burst, families huddled in cars for warmth. And this winter, power grids are already stretched thin. Same story, different year. Today, I'm sharing 9 Amish life-saving tips that'll keep you warm when everything fails. Simple methods that cost under $50, use no electricity, and can literally mean the difference between sleeping cold and staying alive. And number 7, that one will shock you because it uses something sitting in almost every kitchen drawer. So don't wait for the lights to flicker out. Learn these now while prices are still sane and supplies are still on the shelves. Because when the grid goes dark this winter, comfort won't be your priority. Survival will. Not next month, not next storm, right now. Item 1. Zone heating. Close, insulate. Look, when the power's out and the temperature keeps dropping, the first instinct most people have is to throw on more layers, right? Pile on the blankets, crank a candle heater, maybe even pray the power company gets it fixed fast. But that's not how the Amish do it. They don't fight the cold, they outsmart it. Here's what they've mastered: zone heating. Instead of trying to warm the whole house, they seal off one room, usually the bedroom or living area, and make that their heat zone. One controlled, insulated pocket of warmth. Think of it like turning a cold house into a cozy tent. And the best part? You can do it right now for under $30. Seriously, draft stoppers made from old towels, a $20 thermal curtain from Walmart, and a few thick blankets. That's it. According to survival forums this year, it's one of the top-rated ways to conserve fuel during outages. But here's what most people mess up. They leave gaps. Air sneaks under doors, heat escapes through vents, and before you know it, that warm room feels like a walk-in freezer. The fix? Towels under doors, curtains drawn tight, rugs over bare floors. No gaps, no drafts. Now here's where it gets really interesting. You can supercharge it with a warm box. Hang a thick blanket across your doorway and place your heat source, even a candle heater, near a wall or heavy furniture. That thermal mass traps heat and radiates it back. Simple, silent, systematic. Because in a real outage, it's not about heating the house, it's about keeping you alive through the night. One room, one strategy, total control. Not tomorrow, tonight. Item 2. Wood or cast iron stove plus kettle for heat and humidity. Now picture this. It's pitch dark outside, wind howling through the trees, and your space heater is as dead as your phone. But in the corner, there's this soft orange glow coming from a small cast iron stove. The crackle, the steady warmth, and that faint hiss from a kettle gently steaming on top. That's not just heat, that's comfort. The kind the Amish have perfected for generations. While most people rush for electric blankets or propane heaters, the Amish rely on one thing that never fails: wood. A good cast iron stove doesn't just heat a room, it radiates slow, deep warmth that lasts for hours. And here's the overlooked secret. That kettle of water on top, it keeps humidity in the air so you don't wake up with cracked lips and a sore throat from dry heat. Small detail, huge difference. Now, you don't need to drop thousands to do this. Used stoves can go for as low as $200 on local marketplaces, while newer ones can run up to $1,000 depending on the model and setup. But here's the thing. Installation matters. The EPA and Hearth Pros warn that improper venting or clearances can be dangerous, so if you're going this route, get it inspected or follow modern venting guides. Here's what most people get wrong. They overstuff it. Big logs, low oxygen, smoky mess. The Amish method? Smaller, hotter fires. Complete combustion, less creosote, cleaner heat. And here's a pro move. Place a small grate inside, use a cast iron kettle, and let it radiate gentle warmth through the night. No noise, no flickering lights. Just pure, steady heat. Because when the power fails, that soft orange glow isn't just survival, it's peace. Item 3. Retained heat cooking. Now imagine this. You've got a pot of rice boiling on a tiny camp stove. The fuel's running low, it's cold, and you're watching that flame eat through your last canister. Most people panic. But the Amish, they'd smile, turn off the flame, and tuck that pot into a box full of hay. That's retained heat cooking, also called a haybox or fireless cooker. It's one of the oldest, smartest, and most fuel-efficient methods ever used. You bring your food to a rolling boil, seal it in a well-insulated box, and let it finish cooking without using another drop of fuel. No electricity, no gas, no noise. Just pure thermal magic. Here's what makes it so powerful. Once that pot's boiling, it's already loaded with enough heat to finish the job. All you need is to trap it. According to research from Outage and other energy-saving studies, retained heat cookers can save up to 50% of total cooking energy. That's not a small number. That's the difference between running out of fuel in a week or lasting another month. And get this, you can build one for almost nothing. Old blankets, a cardboard box, some straw or towels, that's it. Costs range from $0 to $30 tops. Homesteaders and permaculture folks swear by it, and it's quietly becoming a favorite among off-grid families who want to stretch every ounce of propane and firewood. But here's the brutal mistake most people make. They put the pot in too soon. If it's not at a full rolling boil, you'll end up with half-cooked beans and wasted effort. The trick is to boil for 5 to 10 minutes, seal it tight, and pack insulation all around. No gaps, no shortcuts. Now, if you want to level up, use a soft cooler lined with old quilts or even straw. That setup can hold heat for hours. And for smaller portions, a thermal lunch bag with towels works surprisingly well. Quiet, simple, zero fuel after the boil. Because when fuel is life, every BTU you save isn't just efficiency, it's survival. Item 4. Rocket mass heater or thermal mass heating. Picture this. It's freezing outside, your wood pile's half gone, and you're staring at your stove wondering how long it'll last. Most people would just throw in more logs and hope for the best. But the Amish, they've mastered the art of less wood, more heat. That's the whole idea behind a rocket mass heater, or RMH for short. It's a simple but genius system. You burn a small, super hot fire in a well-designed chamber, and the heat gets stored inside a mass, like a cob bench, brick wall, or masonry bed. Once the fire's out, that mass keeps radiating warmth for 10, 12, even 24 hours. It's like turning your furniture into a thermal battery. Here's the crazy part. Rocket mass heaters can hit 70 to 80% heat retention using a fraction of the wood of a normal stove. That's exactly how Amish families stretch limited firewood through long winters. Controlled burn, stored heat, steady comfort. Now, let's talk real numbers. A DIY build can run anywhere from $300 to $1,000, depending on how fancy you go with the materials. Pre-built kits or professional setups, expect $1,250 and up. But the payoff, endless heat with minimal wood, is priceless once you've felt it.
Preppers and off-gridders praise the savings, especially when fuel costs keep rising every winter. The catch is, it's not a slap-together weekend project. The number one mistake people make is skipping proper refractory materials or messing up the draft design. Do that and you'll choke the system or fill your space with smoke. Here's my advice. Start small. Build a test unit outdoors or in a garage first. Learn the draw, the sound, the burn. Once you've got that rocket roar dialed in, you'll know you've done it right. And when you feel that steady heat hours later, you'll get it. This isn't just a heater. It's a self-reliant system that turns every stick of wood into lasting warmth. Quiet, efficient, nearly endless. Because real survival isn't about stockpiling wood. It's about using it wisely. Item 5. Straw bales for draft blocking and temporary insulation. When the wind is howling through the cracks and every draft feels like an ice knife, the Amish don't run to Amazon. They walk to the barn. Because sometimes survival isn't about fancy tech. It's about what's right in front of you. Straw bales. Simple, old school, ridiculously effective. For generations, Amish and rural farmers have stacked straw bales along the outsides of homes, barns, and even chicken coops to hold in warmth and block brutal winter winds. Think of them like nature's insulation, thick, breathable, and dirt cheap. Right now, as of 2025, straw bales typically go for $9 to $10 each at places like Tractor Supply or Farm and Home Supply. Even in pricier regions, you'll rarely see them over $15. For under $100, you can block drafts around your entire foundation or create a windbreak wall outside your most used entrance. And here's the kicker, it actually works. Home building research shows that properly stacked, dry straw can dramatically reduce cold air infiltration, sometimes by double-digit percentages. Now, here's how you do it right. Stack the bales tight beneath windows, against exterior doors, or along the north-facing wall where the wind hits hardest. Add an old tarp, plastic sheet, or even feed sacks over the top to keep them dry. Moisture is the enemy here. Wet straw equals mold magnet. But dry straw? That's natural insulation gold. Want to know the most common mistake? People leave them pressed directly against siding for months. Big no-no. Always give them a small air gap or use a waterproof barrier. Remember, this is temporary insulation, not a remodel. And here's a pro move from the Amish playbook. Use bales to create a mini windbreak tunnel around your main entryway. It cuts down on every cold gust that rushes in when you open the door. You'll feel the difference instantly. They may look rustic, but straw bales do what modern draft stoppers can't. They scale. Wall, window, door, barn, it all works. No cords, no fuel, no noise, just warmth trapped the way nature intended. Because when the grid goes down, simplicity wins. And a few $10 straw bales? That's priceless insulation when the cold starts biting. Item 6. Hot water bottles and heated bricks. It's midnight. The power's been out for hours, and your room feels like a freezer. You've layered up, tucked in, maybe even pulled your hat down over your ears, but that deep chill still seeps in. Now picture this instead. You slide your feet under the covers, and there's a pocket of steady, soothing warmth waiting for you. No electricity, no noise, just comfort. That's the quiet genius of hot water bottles and heated bricks, an old Amish trick that's kept people warm through brutal winters for generations. It's simple, safe, and almost free. You just heat water over your stove or wood fire, pour it into a sturdy bottle, or wrap a warmed brick in cloth and slip it into your bed before you get in. The heat radiates for hours, especially if it's insulated under blankets. Now here's the best part. It costs next to nothing. Traditional hot water bottles run between $5 and $30, depending on size and model. Walmart and Amazon both list plenty in the $9 to $20 range. You can even find them at drugstores or general stores in colder states. Here's the thing. Modern guides often skip this because it's too simple. But simplicity is what makes it brilliant. It works every single time. The Amish still use it because it doesn't rely on the grid or fancy tech, just hot water, insulation, and a bit of common sense. Now here's a quick word of caution though. Avoid damaged or electric models with recalls. There have been recent warnings about faulty plugs and overheating. Stick with plain rubber or silicone bottles and inspect them for cracks before every use. And here's a pro tip. Slip your hot water bottle inside a thick sock or wrap it in flannel before putting it near your skin. It keeps the heat longer and protects from burns. Heated bricks? Same rule. Wrap them tight, especially if using in bed. Look, it's not glamorous, but when you're shivering and the grid's gone quiet, that steady warmth at your feet can feel like pure luxury. Because in a cold, powerless night, comfort isn't about gadgets, it's about heat that lasts. And sometimes all you need is boiling water and a brick. Item 7. Layering, quilts, and bed tents. When the house feels like an icebox and every breath turns to fog, there's one thing that never fails: your own body heat. The Amish understand that better than anyone. While most people chase bigger heaters or thicker insulation, the Amish focus on what they already have: layers, quilts, and clever heat traps built around the human body itself. Here's how it works. Instead of heating the whole room, they heat the person. That starts with proper layering. Forget cotton. It holds moisture and steals warmth. Go with wool or synthetic base layers that keep heat even when damp. Then add insulation, fleece, flannel, or a heavy quilt. Amish quilts, by the way, aren't just beautiful. They're built like thermal armor. Thick batting, tight stitching, and natural fibers that trap warm air like nothing else. Now, here's the overlooked gem: bed tents, or what kids might call blanket forts. You drape quilts or heavy blankets over a simple frame, even a few chairs or a clothesline, and you instantly cut heat loss by up to half. Your body becomes the furnace. The air you exhale helps keep it toasty inside. Add a hot water bottle from earlier, and you've got a microclimate you can actually sleep through. Let's talk cost. Second-hand quilts can run anywhere from $20 to $200, depending on quality and craftsmanship. Heavy fleece and thermal base layers usually go for $10 to $50, especially if you check thrift stores or online marketplaces. For under $100, you can layer up an entire sleeping setup that rivals a high-end winter bag. Now here's a little-known Amish trick. Rotate head to toe when sharing a bed. It evens out warm zones and helps everyone sleep warmer. And don't skip the hat. You can lose 30 to 40% of your body heat through your head at night. Most people think survival warmth comes from gear. The Amish know it starts with people. Layer smart. Trap your heat. Build your shelter around your own body. Because real warmth doesn't come from the grid. It comes from knowing how to keep every ounce of heat you already have. Item 8. Safe combustion backups. When the power's out and the cold sets in, many preppers reach for anything that burns. But this is where safety separates survivors from statistics. The Amish have always understood that fire is both friend and threat. They heat with flame, yes, but always with proper venting, constant awareness, and respect for combustion. Let's talk about one of the smartest emergency tools you can own: an indoor-rated propane heater like the Mr. Heater Buddy F232,000, which sells for around $90 at Home Depot or similar retailers. It's compact, dependable, and most importantly, built for indoor use with built-in CO and oxygen sensors that automatically shut off if oxygen levels drop too low. Performance-wise, it can heat about 200 to 225 square feet. That's roughly a small living room or a single insulated bedroom. It runs on 1-pound propane cylinders or can be connected to larger tanks with adapters, giving you a flexible setup for extended outages. But here's the catch. Even a safe heater isn't safe without ventilation. The EPA and Indoor Air Quality (IHQ) guidance are crystal clear. You must crack a window or door slightly to allow fresh airflow. Carbon monoxide is silent and invisible. A few parts per million can be deadly, so always pair your heater with a carbon monoxide detector that has fresh batteries. Treat it like part of the heater itself, not an optional accessory. Let's talk about mistakes, and they're common. People try to run barbecues, camp stoves, or outdoor grills indoors. That's a one-way ticket to CO poisoning. Only use heaters explicitly labeled indoor safe and ensure they have an ODS or oxygen depletion sensor and tip-over shutoff. And here's your pro tip. Before winter hits, take your heater outside, hook it up, and practice lighting and extinguishing it safely. That 10-minute drill will prevent fumbling with cold hands during an outage. Keep at least one spare 1-pound propane cylinder stored in a cool, dry place. It's cheap insurance. So while the Amish rely on wood and vented stoves, modern preppers can learn from their discipline. Heat smart, vent right, and always pair every flame with a CO detector. Because staying warm means nothing if you don't stay breathing. Item 9. Multi-use cast iron and thermal mass pots. One of the simplest, smartest, and most multi-purpose survival tools ever made isn't electronic, rechargeable, or high-tech. It's heavy, black, and built to last generations. Cast iron. The Amish have long understood something most modern homes overlook. Cast iron isn't just for cooking, it's a thermal battery. Once heated, it holds warmth for hours, radiating slow, steady heat into a space or even your bedding area. Here's the setup. You heat a Dutch oven or large cast iron pot on a stove or over a small fire. Once it's good and hot, not glowing, just heated through, move it carefully with gloves or tongs. Then place it on a trivet or thick tile and wrap it in a few towels or blankets. That one move can create a portable heat source that stays warm for hours, helping take the chill out of a small room or tent. The beauty of this system is in the physics. Cast iron's density and heat retention rival engineered thermal blocks. While modern guides rave about battery-powered heaters or hand warmers, few talk about the ancient free energy storage sitting in every Amish kitchen. Cost? Most cast iron skillets, Dutch ovens, or griddles run between $20 and $100, and they last a lifetime. They're widely available new or used, and even the rough, rusty ones can be restored with a little oil and heat.
The practical advantage is flexibility. You can cook with it, use it for retained heat cooking like a hay box, or employ it as a radiant heater during a blackout. In cold zones, people even place heated Dutch ovens near their bed, wrapped safely in towels or in an insulated box for gentle, lasting warmth overnight. But there's one critical safety note. Never place hot cast iron directly on bedding or flammable materials. Always use a trivet, stone, or tile base and wrap it securely to prevent contact burns. Pro tip: keep 2 cast iron pieces in rotation, one for heating, one for cooking. Swap them out throughout the day to stretch every bit of fire or stove heat. So while others scramble for gadgets, you'll be running on centuries-old thermal science. Simple, durable, and endlessly reliable. Because when the lights go out, iron still holds the heat. Now, if you really want to level up your winter survival setup, let's talk about advanced heating strategies, the kind that separate casual preppers from hardcore planners. First, the masonry heater versus a rocket mass heater. Both store heat in dense materials, radiating warmth long after the fire dies down. A masonry heater is a beast. It can heat an entire home for hours, sometimes a full day, off a single long burn. The downside? They're expensive. You're looking at $8,000 to $20,000 plus for installation and materials. Not exactly a quick fix. Enter the rocket mass heater. It's the DIY-friendly compromise. $300 to $1,250, depending on whether you build from scratch or buy a kit. Less costly, still highly efficient, and perfect for heating a single zone or a small home. Preppers love it because it stretches every log, every scrap of fuel, while still giving you that comforting, long-lasting heat. Now, let's get real about what not to do.
And it's a mistake that kills more people than you'd think. Using charcoal grills and outdoor BBQs indoors. Yes, some survival guides casually suggest it. No, don't. Carbon monoxide is silent, odorless, and deadly. The EPA and indoor air quality experts are very clear. This is a recipe for disaster. The better approach? Stick with indoor-rated propane heaters or properly vented wood stoves, and always pair them with a carbon monoxide detector. Slight ventilation is fine, but never bypass safety sensors. Treat every flame like a living thing. It gives heat, yes, but it also demands respect. Remember, warmth is survival, but safe warmth is life. Invest wisely, build smart, and never let short-term shortcuts turn a cold night into a tragedy. Because when the grid goes down, the difference between comfort and catastrophe is planning, skill, and respect for fire. Zone heating. Concentrate warmth, $0 to $30. Wood stove and kettle. Heat and humidity, $200 to $1,000. Retained heat haybox. Cook off grid, $0 to $30. Rocket mass heater. Long burn, $300 to $1,250. Straw bales, draft blocker, $5 to $15. Hot water bottles, bed warmth, $5 to $30. Layering and quilts, body heat, $10 to $200. Indoor propane heater, safe flame, about $90. Cast iron thermal mass, cook and heat, $20 to $100. Boom! 9 practical, tested, low-cost strategies for staying warm in a blackout. Not theory, real, usable, survival-level warmth. Now, the top 3 takeaways I want you to remember. 1. Zone first. Heat people, not the whole house. Stop wasting wood or fuel trying to warm every corner. 2. Use thermal mass and retained heat. Haybox, cast iron, RMH. Every bit of stored warmth is fuel saved, time saved, stress avoided. 3. Safety over improvisation. Never ever burn charcoal, outdoor grills, or unvented heaters indoors. CO detectors, ventilation, and indoor-rated equipment are non-negotiable. Here's the urgency push. Recent winter storms in 2024 to 2025 caused massive outages across the U.S. Some families lost heat for days. A few cheap items, a little planning, and knowing these tricks could literally save lives. Reuters, 2025. So now, here's where I want your input. Comment below, which of these 9 do you already own and which would you try first? I'll pin the best DIY haybox build. Share photos, ideas, or setups in the community post. Let's inspire each other. If you learned one thing that could keep your family safe, hit like and subscribe. It helps this video reach the people who need it most. And don't just watch. Comment which tip you'll use tonight. Finally, save or share this video as a time-stamped emergency checklist. That way, when the lights go out, you're not scrambling. You've got a plan. Because staying warm isn't just comfort. It's survival. And with these 9 strategies, you'll be ready for whatever winter throws at you.